Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I have my paper pumpkin alternatives. This is the February paper pumpkin called Grown with Kindness. Now, I'm not going to do a lot about the way the cards come, as is my practice. These are the two flyers inside the paper pumpkin this time. Paper Pumpkin is having a birthday. It is turning 6 in March. So there is going to be an extra free stamp set in every March Paper Pumpkin box. So if you want to get in on the Paper Pumpkin, and if you want to get the extra free stamp set, then you have to sign up for Paper Pumpkin by March the 10th. And then you'll get that March kit. If you sign up after March 10th, the first kit you'll get will be April. Now, when you sign up for Paper Pumpkin, I have a couple of customers that do this and a couple of demonstrators that do this. They sign up for the year during celebration because you get your Paper Pumpkin and you get, with an extra $40 to put with it, you get the maximum Stampin' Rewards, and then during celebration you get the extra $25 in rewards if your order's over $250. So you get the 16% Stampin' Rewards plus the extra $25, and you get the Paper Pumpkin at a slight discount, and then it is you have the Paper Pumpkin for a year. And so it's a way to maximize what you get if you do it that way. And so there's a lot of people that sign up that way. I have a handful of customers that sign up annually that way, and some of my demonstrators definitely do. And if you become a demonstrator and you do it, you also get your discount on top of it. So another reason to join Stampin' Up! As a demonstrator. This month it's $175 worth of product for $99, and plus $50 extra for a tote if you'd like to have it. And then if you did your Stampin' Up! Your year-long Paper Pumpkin, you'd get an additional 20% discount on the Paper Pumpkin for the year. That makes it a really, really good deal. Okay, so this is the Paper Pumpkin for this month, and it is just gorgeous. I'm saving a couple of these to put together the way that they suggest, because I think these cards are absolutely really, really pretty. But I did come up with a bunch of Paper Pumpkin alternatives, and we'll go through and make them today. There's 3 graphics here of the succulents, and it's that photographic realism that they do with this. And then of course this paper comes in your Paper Pumpkin. It's got this handy little ruler on the bottom, and it shows exactly what to do to set up these cards the way they suggest. The coordinating colors with this are Basic Black, Fresh Fig, Lemon Lime Twist, Mint Macaron, Whisper White, and I don't know why they didn't mention it, but Basic Gray. And so I am going to show you what it is I did with these, and then we'll go through them. So let me start with, I used 6 Whisper White bases to make my alternatives. This is the first one. I took that succulent sheet here and I cut it into, I think it's 1.5 inch strips. And I may need to measure on some of these just to make absolutely sure. I'm sure it was 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 inch strips, and there's a little piece left over, but you could use that for decorations on the inside. I've got my pieces set up in here, but this is what I did with the inside of that card. Just very simple, using some of the pieces in the stamp set. The next cards that I created were using this second graphic here that is the little teacups and coffee cups that have the succulents in them. And for that, I created 2 cards. So with this one, with each of these panels, and you get 3 panels, you could make 3 of these cards out of each of those panels. Then what I did was I cut that graphic in, well, it's not exactly in half. In order to get all of this succulent, you need to cut just to the side of this one piece of cactus, and then you end up with 2 pieces here. And I made up these cards. I used this background that came with it and cut that up, and we'll go through all of that with the dimensions. But I made 2 cards out of that graphic. So there's 2, 4, 6, so it's an additional 6 cards. This last one, I had so much fun with it. This one here has the letters U, and what I did was I cut out each of those letters. So there's the Y, and I cut out the Y and then backed it with some of the vellum that came with the kit. And there's a stamp in the kit, and I'll show it to you in a minute, that says U. And so I used the Y from this and then used the OU there. And then I did one with the O in the middle and did the Y and the U. And then I did one with the U using the Y and O on this end. So there's 3 of those graphics in the kit. So you could, if you like this design, I fell in love with it. I thought it was fun. I did one that was flat. I did one where this little badge with all of these pieces is raised, and then I did one where the whole panel is raised. But let's just get to it. I've done a little bit ahead of time just because there's so many pieces here. I'm going to start with this one. And, oh, let me show you the stamp set before we get too much further along here. The stamp set, make sure, says U. It says thank you. It has this little flower. R, wonderful. And then it's got this little graphic, which is the design in the paper on this particular piece of paper here. Then it says R, beautiful. And then there's 3 sets of just shapes, little flowers, little diamonds, little plus marks, it looks like. Then it says, be kinder to yourself and let your kindness flood the world. And then it says, life is tough, but so are you. You again, can do incredible things. And then this one, you're the reason I smiled today. Lovely, lovely sentiments. It's a very nice stamp set, and I can see using this a lot of different ways in the future. So you get your glue dots, you get all of the stuff that you ordinarily get, your glue dots and your dimensionals. And the ink that I used was Smokey Slate, and then I used, they sent a Stampin' Spot this time in Fresh Fig, and so I did use my Fresh Fig, and those are the only, well, I guess I did use black once to put something down, but all of the stamping, like on this one, I actually did in the Fresh Fig on the basic gray, and I tested it out, and I kind of liked the way it looked, and I thought it would be better than a stark just black. All right, so what you need for this piece, this was one of the card pieces that they gave you in the kit. Let me go back to that. This card base here, and I used the black panels. I cut down the panels to use the black to back this, so you can get quite a few of these panels. You get 2 with each card base, basically, so 2, 4, 6. And I cut this down to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then this piece is 3 3/4 by 5, as is the white piece for the inside. And then this piece, I used in addition to the white bases, I did use a little of the basic gray. They had some gray panels in there, but I needed more gray than they provided. So this is, let's see, this one is 4 by 5 1/4. Then my little 1/2 inch strip by, what did it turn out to be? 3 3/4. So this strip needed to be 1/4 inch bigger than that, so 4 by 2. And that creates this piece here. So we'll just get started, and I'm going to, I use mostly snail, some liquid glue, but basically I'm going to just put down some snail. Then I have one of my card bases here, and this piece of black gets mounted flat on there. We're just going to put this piece on here. Sometimes easier said than done. Let's see if we can't get this set down here right. There we go. All right, there's my piece mounted on there. Then this gray piece here needs to be stamped, and I stamped that with "You Can Do Incredible Things," and I thought that was kind of a fun stamp. Here's my "Can Do Incredible Things." All right, so, and we're also using, I used a little bit of this basic black satin ribbon, 1/2 inch. So I need to get that set on my card here at the bottom. And I want to be able to stamp my sentiment down towards the bottom. So I'm going to set this ribbon right there. I think that'll work. All right, so we're going to use some dimensionals. It looks like I've got a few bones here to use up. I know that that's going to go right down there, and it's going to go beyond this card. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and do my stamping. Okay, so now I'm going to ink up my U and sort of put this in place so I know right where to stamp. And so I need my U right in here. So again, and I'm not using my Pierce mat. This stamp has a tendency to pick up the ink in between, and I don't want to push it down into that and make a mark. So I'm just going to ink there, and I'm using these 2 or 3 layers here to give me a bit of a cushion. And there's my U. Very good. And then this one says "Can Do Incredible Things." So I'm going to ink up along here, and that one is going to go right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to move that up a little bit so you can see there. But there we got our U and "Can Do Incredible Things" there. All right, now this piece is ready to go down on here, and I'm doing that with just snail. That looks about right to me. Then this piece is all ready to go right along here. There's no right upside or downside on this, but one side feels a little bit more top than bottom to me. And there we go. There's our piece there. And I really think that makes for an attractive kind of front. This fresh fig here picks up the purples in the succulents, and then the gray and the black just seem to kind of work with this. Okay, on the inside, let's see, we have a piece of Whisper White and some gray. Okay, here are my pieces. I've got a piece of gray, and this gray is cut at 4 by 5 3/4, and this little piece of white is cut then 3 3/4 by 4 3/4, so that it should nest in here just about right. All right, and so what I did on this one was I used the stamp here, this little stamp with the succulent in the cup. And let me grab a little bit of scratch paper here and put this down and ink up this succulent here in the top of my cup. And I don't want to catch any parts of the cup. I just want to catch the succulent leaves here and put those in the corner here. There are those in one corner, and then I'm going to flip this around and ink that back up again and get that right in the corner. Very good. All right. So now these pieces can be layered here. There we go on the inside of my card, and there we have card number 1. Now on this one I added a few black rhinestones. In this package called Faceted Dots, it's in the main catalog as I recall, this has a row of kind of a dark purple, like Blackberry Bliss maybe, and then right underneath it is a row of black. So I used a medium-sized black right down here, and a couple of these small, oops, that's a fig one, although that would work on here as well, I think. But I'm going to use black there, and then pick up one more black, and I put it right down here on one of the succulents so you could see it. But I think that makes a lovely card. There's something very appealing about that color combination to me. But there it is, card number 1. So next we're going to move on to these two little cards here, where I took some of the paper that came with the kit. So this was a card base, and it has this print on both sides, and I cut that down. This also was a card base, and you can see I've already done some stamping on the, that's the original one. And what I did here was, let me put these two up here now, and put my pieces here, and my other pieces here, and we'll probably do these so that we kind of do them together. And let's see, looks like a couple of my pieces have escaped. So there's that. Okay, so what we have is we need 2 pieces like this, 2 pieces like this, and then both ends of the cup. It's amazing to me how you start out with all of your pieces together, and within minutes they disappear. All right, I'm going to show you how I cut this and we'll get the other piece. All right, the very first thing I did was took off about 1/8 of an inch on the bottom of this panel. And that was because this particular succulent is tall. So I wanted to make sure that I got it to the right height. And then I cut this piece down to 3 3/4. So 3 3/4, and you can see then I just missed the piece at the top. Now you can save these pieces for decorations for the insides of some of your cards. All right. The next thing I wanted to do was cut this piece so that I got all of this succulent to one side and the other cup and a part of that cup on the other side. So here we go. There's the piece that I originally cut. And, well, we'll use these two pieces since they match. And then there's the piece here with this other succulent. I could have cut that a little bit closer, but that's close enough. Okay, so I'm going to do these kind of together. And so what we need is some stamping done on these pieces. And you can see I used my cup, and I'm going to clean this stamp up once real good before we get started so that we don't pick up any stray ink where we don't want it. Okay, so this I'm going to ink up, and I did this one in black ink and this one in fresh fig, and I think I like the fresh fig better. So I'm going to ink this up in the fresh fig here, and again you can see how this stamp is picking up the ink on the inside. So again, I'm going to stamp this, and I'm going to try and clean that little piece out of there, but I'm not going to use my pierce mat. And I'm going to go over that one more time lightly, and then I'm going to stamp down right down here on the bottom towards this end. There we go. And get my cup done. Then ink it back up again and do the other piece. There we go. And I can tell that's not evenly inked. It's the beauty of photopolymer. You can see right through it and see what you've done and what you haven't. I'm going to take a chance on that inner part there and put my cup right down here. I'm going to let that sit and transfer the ink just a little. There we go. Good image. All right. All right. Then I have, as part of this stamp set, this little flower is what it is. And it's just as cute as it can be. And I thought on the second one here, I put some of these little images of the flower just to add some additional decoration. Not a whole bunch, but just a few little pieces. And actually I'm going to do that on both of these this time, and just to add a little visual interest here, and put some of these little stamps around on my paper. Okay, there we go. And now then, to put this together, what I did was I mounted this piece along the edge here with a similar border flat against the card. And this one, because of the way the layers go on, I decided not to add any additional dimension. So this is going to go right in here on this one. And this one going to go right in here on this one. Right in place. And then it's a matter of placing this according to what your eye likes. It looks like I picked up two of the same ones, the one I couldn't find before, and there it is all of a sudden. Okay, so I thought the graphic piece down here made the most sense, and I did cut off one of the stripes, leaving a little bit of the open area. Here's the card base. So I cut this off, and then I cut right along this, in the middle of this white stripe, and then cut this panel in half to get two of these pieces. So this one, we're just going to add some snail here. And I'm going to make this, put it at an angle. I don't want to cover my coffee cup handle here. And I want to put it on so that it doesn't go all the way to the end on any of the parts. So there it is at a little bit of an angle. And then this piece on this one, I set almost straight again here with a little bit of snail on the back of this panel right here. And there we go. There's the first one. Now the second one, so there we have our two card fronts, and on this one I used the thank you in the stamp set, and here's my little thank you. And on this one, since it was a little plainer at the top, I put my thank you message right up here. We sure could have done that before we put it on the card. And on this one, I put my thank you over on this side. And there we've got our thank you. And nice and simple, but attractive. And I think this fills in the top of this a little bit. Now, on the inside of these cards, if I remember right, I just stamped the cup. So let me grab some of that scratch paper again. And we're going to ink up our cup again in the Fresh Fig. Particularly on this one side, and put that down right here on the bottom on the inside to add that little bit of decoration there. And here is our second one. I really think this is a pretty kit. I just love the cards the way they are. Oh, and that reminds me, I have a kit to give away this time. I have an extra. So if you make a comment and let me know you shared this video, you can be in a drawing to win this paper pumpkin kit. Again, just a notification that lets me know that you shared, and I'm happy to do that. All right, so that is those two cards, and the ones we have left are the three cards that spell out the word you in them. And so here are my three card bases. And on this one, I did run out of material. I was using this piece, and I've used it on lots of different things here. and I burned up a few of them practicing. So I have just one base like this. So I have made another one, and I want to show you how I did that, and we'll make one more to go on the inside. This kit has this sort of graphic little stamp in it, and it's very similar to the print on here. So I used my basic gray, and this piece, in fact, yes, this piece I just stamped, and when you cut off one of these other back pieces here, let me see how big this piece is again. This piece is 5 by 3 3/4. So what we need to do is make another one of these. So, and I'll just go ahead and we'll make 2, and that way they'll match our card fronts. So what I did was I used some of the scratch paper here, and I put this stamp, and I stamped off once, and then I stamped on the edge here a couple of times, off, and then just below it, and then down here, and I just randomly did in different strengths here, put this stamp across the front of this card base here. So I have made 3 of these, and we need to cut these down to size, and these need to be 5 inches by 3 3/4. All right, there we go. I've got all of my pieces cut. These are the cards that we are making. Okay, so I have my 3 card bases, my 3 pieces that we've just cut, and then I have 3 pieces of gray to go on the back. So the first thing we're going to do is add the gray background. And these pieces are 4 by 5 1/4. And so I'm going to set those pieces down on my card bases here. Okay, there's my bases. Now I have already cut out my little letters here, and there's my Y, O, and U, and I have cut out from the vellum that was in the kit the pieces here. So there's my vellum pieces, and there are my gray pieces. And the gray pieces are 2 1/4 square. The vellum pieces are 2 inches square, and these pieces ended up being about 1 3/4 inches square, unless it looked funny, like the Y is a little bit narrower, but I made them so that they would end up being uniform by making these pieces the same. Then I'll center these on here. So cut them out whichever way works best for you. But since most of this is going to be behind the picture, I went ahead and put quite a bit of glue down. this vellum is very heavy, very thick, and so kind of wants to curl. So I am putting it down, and I think it'll stay down once I've got it good and glued, but the picture's going to go on top of it, so you won't see any of the glue. So I put down glue generously on these to kind of hold them in place. I always cut extras of everything just in case. Okay, so here we go. Last one to put that in place. And then with these, I raised these, I didn't raise these up on dimensionals separately, but I just used, again, some snail and centered these on my little panels here. And that one on there. Now, those three are all ready to go. Now, I also pre-stamped some of the letters here, and here they are. And then I have one that I hadn't stamped yet, and I thought I would just show you. These little pieces of paper are 1 3/4 inches by 1 1/2. And I did ink up my U here with my fresh fig and stamped these on, actually I cut a whole strip and stamped them, but I wanted to show you here. It's just very simple to get a nice clean image down on that. And then the way I'm going to use these is that on this one I need the Y on one side. Now this one had a little dollop in the middle, so it's going to have to go behind this one. So what I did was I put some snail down to one side, and on, let's see, no, that one can't go on that one. I need that one to go like that. So let me put my snail on the wrong side. So what I'm going to do is attach this one right here. So it now says U. Then on this one, I need a Y on one side. So I'm going to put down some snail on both sides of this one. And I need a Y. So I'm going to come as far over as I can, just showing the Y. And then on this side, I need a U. So again, using your grid mat here, let's put down some more snail here and see if we can't get this one to come in so that it looks like it matches here. Right about there. Okay, so there's my U and my other U, and now I need one last U, and this one is the YO on this side. So I'm going to put some snail down here on this one. Oops. And set that one up there. Now, on this one, let's see, I am going to do this just the way I did it here. In your kit, you get a bunch of banners. And I mean a bunch. You get a couple pages of these banners. And so what I used were some of these big banners here. Grab a couple of those when I used anything at all. And you can see that on the U on this one, I didn't put a banner, but I'm going to on this one. So I'm going to cut my banner in half. And I'm going to continue on here so that this all fits on my card front here. And I'm going to put this banner off to this side. Okay, there we go. All right. And then on this, what we're going to do is attach this piece, and I'm just going to add snail and lay this whole thing down flat. Okay, so all I really want to do is kind of get this centered on here to create my U. And then down below we have these lovely sentiments. This one says, "You are beautiful." And I thought that was a particularly attractive little saying. So I'm going to put my "are beautiful" right down here underneath my U. And there we've got "You are beautiful." And this one I just put flat on the card. So that's what I'm going to do. And you can decide for yourself if you want to raise portions of this. I kind of liked it where this whole banner was raised a little bit on dimensionals. But there we go. There is our "You are beautiful." And then part of the kit are these silver enamel dots. I use my pick tool here and pick up, it's always easier said than done, pick up my enamel dots here and get them put on the card. And I decided that I just really wanted 3. So I'm putting this one down here and another one up there. And I really do think I like it better with the big banner on it. It's really pretty attractive that way. So there you go. I'm not going to do the interior just because this is already running so long. But if you cut a little strip that's a 1/2 inch by some 4 inches or so, you can put it on the inside of your card like this or across the bottom, and you can get your inside decorations done. Okay, the next one, and they all have the same kind of inside decoration. There is my U this way, and on this one I'm going to take my banner little piece that I have here and put it on this other end. And there we go. This piece can go right on here. And again, let's see, this one I think, yes, this one I added with snail to the card here and got it so that everything fit on this little panel. And then I raised this panel on dimensionals. I think I used some of these Blackberry Bliss faceted gems, and I think they came out kind of nice. I really loved having all of these different colored gems available to us. And I'm going to add 3 on here. There we go. And so there is the second card. And the third card, what I did was I took one of these banners and I cut it in half, and I added a bit of a banner to either side of my sentiment here, and then I raised the whole sentiment on dimensionals. And this one, when I put it on the card, went slightly off of this piece. So I'm going to add some snail to this one and put this down on my card front. And there you have the different items here. And on this one, I'm just going to add these gems again, and I decorated the inside of these cards all the same with a little bit of this pattern paper that we made here and a little bit of the gray to make a strip. And so that is what I did to decorate the inside. But there you have it. That is the project for today, my paper pumpkin alternatives for our February kit. And again, I have an extra to share. So if you will make a comment on the bottom and share this video, you can be in the drawing for this kit. And there is our using the letters. This is going to be hard to show all of this on camera. So I'm just going to pick a couple here. There's a Y, there's an O, and there's a U. Move those out of the way, and so we can show those like that, and show this like this, and show these two like this. All right. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. And or you could join my team. I converse with my customers all the time. Generally speaking, they get a note from me when they've placed an order for the first time. And all of my customers get a little something from me in the month that they've ordered. And they get my newsletter, and if there's specials going on, I let them know about it. And I am absolutely available for my customers for questions and issues that they're having with stamping, and I love chatting with them and helping them be successful. And if you join my team, we do quite a bit together. And I do reach out and talk to all of my team members, try to touch everybody at least once a month. And so again, right now you can join $175 for $99 to join Stampin' Up. And that's it for me today. My drawing for February is the Well Said bundle, which is the stamp set with over 50, it's got 51 stamps in it. And then the dies that have 24 stamps, and well written and well said, and the bundle is worth $76. And all it takes to be in the drawing for that bundle is to place an order on my website. So thanks again for stopping by, and I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye!